have Meta, Facebook with a nice sentiment over here because news is they're going to be having some layoffs over at Meta platforms, and sometimes that can be a catalyst. Meta with that good news up 6%. We said that's a good stock to day trade today if you're into that sort of thing, and buying the dips in Meta did work. Meta, I mentioned yesterday morning, that the sentiment change with they're going to be firing people. That's usually a good catalyst to cause a stock to reverse direction. And I think that has legs. I think that story has legs. And, maybe this goes all the way up to the 20 DMA at 108, 110 or something like that. So Meta, an interesting one. And
Meta, I talked about this a couple times on pre-market show, on post-market wrap. I even talked about it on the Wolf Financial Spaces Monday night, that this had a little bit of a story trading setup to it because not only the technicals looked really good with a low RSI here, but this started moving right here on reports, not the actual execution of it, but the reports that Facebook would be cutting staff, cutting costs. And I mentioned that's really good for sentiment because the sentiment a few weeks ago was after earnings was, hey, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't know how to manage his company. Look at the bloated staff. The revenue is going down, but their expenses are exploding. Like, what the hell's going on over at Meta? So when, on the reports over the weekend that they're going to be cutting staff, that was good for the stock. And then when you look at it technically with a low RSI, and it almost looks like, hey, it's heading for a MACD flip. Look at that RSI 37 and the 20 DMA at 112. I mean, this was a story trading setup, multiple pillars working for you. And then this morning, you had the actual news. Now, sometimes you get like a sell the news event, but I think this is so oversold, and the technicals are so good in terms of the RSI being low and the MACD flip and the 20 DMA possibly being a magnet, that you're seeing the stock move up on this official report. And you can look at it in the news feed, cutting 11,000 jobs, and they're going into CapEx, reducing CapEx, reducing OpEx. All of that is in there. And I think there's a possibility this continues to run to about $112. Now,
Meta, which we called out, I've been, saying that's a good trade since Monday. So I don't know how much room this has left. I've been saying 112, 20 DMA is a target, but with CPI tomorrow, you don't know. But this looks good still. RSI low, MACD about to flip. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it could be a rocky path there with a hot CPI, but it almost looks like it's destined to, what was the top of this candle here? 102.50, and today 104.90. Okay, so it broke above that. Yeah, I think it's kind of destined. Just keep in mind that 20 DMA is a declining line. So if you get some chop over the next few days or couple of weeks because of a hot CPI, and then you hit your 20 DMA, that 20 DMA might be 103, 105 in a few days or next week. So
I've been talking about the last couple of days because they've had relative strength the last few days. Even as the market was dying, Meta was doing really good. I've been consistently banging on the table here since the open on Monday, that with a $112 price target for Meta. The sentiment is turning around this story. The technicals really good still. The RSI low, the MACD flip, the 20 DMA at 112. I mean, everything is just perfect with this, heading for 112. And man, this morning, did we ever nail it with Meta? Not only this morning, but this week. What did I tell you this morning? I said 112 target. It happened right on the button. Exactly. Oh my gosh, I just love it. You know what I love about the story trading method is, if you're just a technical trader, you can easily get scared out. Like, you don't know why you're in it. You're like, oh, the technicals are good. All right, well, what about when it corrects during the day? What about, maybe get out from a stop loss or something like that? It's like you're just completely blind, right? On many levels, I just hate pure technical trading, all right? I need to understand what's happening. When I understand, I have conviction. When I have conviction, I can stay in the trade, okay? So we've been calling this consistently, and I did not waver, right? When the market was down big yesterday, we did not waver on that. We said, hey, Meta has a lot of relative strength. This is good, even if the CPI is bad. I said it yesterday. 12. It might go down first, but it's heading to 112 because of the sentiment, the catalyst, understanding why that story is important to Facebook, that they're laying off people, understanding the sentiment was bad. People criticizing Mark Zuckerberg for having such a bloated staff. And, while the metrics, the financial metrics were not going the right direction, he was criticized for exactly that. That was the reason the stock was going down. Okay, when you cure that reason, the stock goes up. That's combining the catalyst of that event that came Monday morning, the sentiment of understanding
how that catalyst is going to impact the sentiment, and then looking at the technicals to verify that this is the right time and kind of gets targets on where it could go, right? This was a beautiful story trade. It just worked perfectly. Okay. So hopefully some of you made money. Now, we had amazing victory with Meta this week. If you've been paying attention, you know the thesis, you know how we nailed it. I mean, really, from 95, hit 112 on the nose, 20 DMA, and it's pulling back. It closed at 112, folks. I mean, I love it when a plan comes together. Sentiment, technical catalyst, squeeze, all of it, story trading style to nail the entry and the exit. That was the call. We're consistent on it the whole time. Weren't shaken out. All the indicators, as I said yesterday, it was a perfect setup for Meta, as I said yesterday morning, and it went on to make a 10% move after I made that comment.